Hello and welcome everyone to the Matchball podcast. Today we have here a very special guest. We have Shrestha, who is a die-hard Indian football supporter fan. She's worked for the Blue Pilgrims, which is an Indian football fan group. And we'd like to talk to her, know more about the Indian football scene, what's going on right now in the Indian football scenario. And Shrestha, tell us a bit about yourself. How did you start supporting Indian football?
Hi everyone, I'm Shrestha Paul, second year student. So basically, it started long back, like when I was kid of maybe 8, 9, not even 8, 9. There's always an environment of football, and cricket, and all the other sports in our home.
Right, right.
Being born in a Bengali family, there's always a buzz about Mohun Bagan East Bengal thing.
Of
So
course.
it started with Mohun Bagan only. Like my dad is a Mohun Bagan fan, and my mom
Nice.
is East Bengal.
Oh,
So
so they are rivals.
yeah, it's a clash.
Yeah.
So it works. Like it depends. Like who has more influence on you, and
Right.
my dad worked with that well, and he used to be like watch the match and tell me what happened in the match, who won the
Right.
match, and I used to watch Mohun Bagan's matches, and then
Right.
it all started with it. And
Right.
then 2010, I same along with I was accompanying my dad and started watching the World Cup, and there I saw Messi,
That's amazing.
and it all started.
Yeah. Behind you, I can see a lot of Barcelona, Messi, and
Yeah, yeah, Sunil
Barcelona stuff going
Chetri,
there. Yeah.
yeah.
Sunil Khetri, MS Dhoni. So you really are into the sports fan. Like you can tell just by looking at your background that you are a diehard sports fan.
Yeah, like my world revolves around football and cricket. That's all.
That's nice. So we can have a separate episode entirely about Barcelona and how they are running their
Yeah,
club right now. But let's just stick
absolutely.
to Indian football for now.
Indian football, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So you mentioned that you've worked in the Blue Pilgrims, and so for me personally, if you remember that Intercontinental Cup in 2018, where Sunil Chetri asked all the fans to come and watch us and support us, that's when it hit me. Like I need to start going to football matches because I used to watch it on TV, but it never really struck me that it is my duty as well. I mean, not duty, but I should go and watch a football game in person. And that's the first time I went, and I joined with one of my friend who works for the Blue Pilgrims. And let me tell you, the atmosphere was amazing. We are in the singing section in Andheri, and it was the best match of football I've ever witnessed. The atmosphere that the Blue Pilgrims create, it's fantastic. So tell me, like, how did you start working for them?
Well, it started with their Indian footballs. There's a thing, Memory India, where we spread awareness about the history of the Indian football. So
Right.
it started with that. Basically, there's this senior of mine. She said that there's a group like this. If you have some, any related thing regarding Indian football's history, then you can share. I'm adding you to the group.
Right.
Then slowly, I got real active with them. I started helping out the admin, posting up the stuffs, and then
Right.
it was the previous admin. He had to leave for some, work, study pressure, and all the stuff.
Gotcha.
Then I completely took over that, and now I research, I post, and basically I do it all with the memory. Yeah.
That's amazing. And
Along with helping with Femblue part as well.
that's really cool, because so like you need support, gathering support outside as well. And being a admin on social media page must really be helping you to gather fans and bringing them into the stadium, I believe.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Like you know, we post up a lot. Like when we started Femblue, like we obviously there were few girls. The scenario over here in India with
Right.
football, especially, right? So we used to put up, post if there's anyone interested, and then we got a lot of responses. A lot of we have Mohun Bagan's fan group Mariners,
Right. Right.
their girls wing, East Bengal's girls wing, they coming up and joining the family, and a lot of other girls from all over India.
Right. That's fantastic. Speaking of like about the recent, like at the time of recording this podcast, we've just qualified for the Asian Cup, the men's team. So how big of an achievement is that? I mean, granted, we were going to qualify any day, but we had to work for it as well. So how was your experience during that qualification period?
Well, first of all, that was my first senior national teams match. I watched it at stadium.
Oh,
Before
nice.
that, I only could go to the under 17 men's World Cup
Okay,
then
okay,
back there in Delhi. Uh, India versus Colombia, it was where Jackson scored India's first FIFA historic goal, but never got the opportunity of watching Sunil Chhetri in Indian jersey. So
right.
that was my first time. It was, and I joined Blue Pilgrims there in the stands, and it was absolutely amazing, like
Yeah, I can
surreal
tell.
experience.
It's
It
honestly
was.
the best experience going with the Blue Pilgrims, especially if you're in the
Absolutely.
singing section. It's the best time of my
Yes,
life.
it's best. Like we watched it standing over there on the stands, and we didn't like. I didn't understand how 45 minutes went.
Right.
Uh, so now coming back to that, it's like it's a huge thing to qualify. A look honestly looking at what was going on, like how Indian team was performing. At some point when I was discussing with other a friend of mine in Blue Pilgrims, we were really apprehensive at the beginning that what's gonna happen. Looking at the scenario, we went down on a FIFA
Yeah,
rankings and everything. We were pretty much apprehensive and with looking at egos to match strategies and everything, we were pretty much apprehensive. But it turned out to be really well. Uh, but the things are not easy anymore
yeah,
because
yeah,
AFC Asian Cup has all the superior Asian teams. We have South Korea, we have Japan, and it's going to be
of
real
course.
tough.
Of course, very tough. And especially, you mentioned two people here. So I want to touch upon both these guys, Timac and Sunil Chetri. So let's start with Chetri first. Legend of the game. The stuff that he's done for Indian football is fantastic. He might be one of the very few Indian players who went abroad. I mean, granted, he did not play much, but I think the experience that he got from, I think he was in for Sporting and in Portugal, and he had a spell in Scotland and England as well. Uh, I think that must have helped him a lot to raise his game as well, to see how much he had to work, because I looked at some statistics from Chetri before joining Portugal and after he came back from Portugal to India. So there was a drastic increase in his performance level. So I think he must have learned about nutrition and some values about hard work and the stuff that you have to show. Even you're talented, you need to be hardworking as well. So
Absolutely.
how much do you think is it essential for our current players to look at opportunities abroad as well? Like, of course, the ISL is a developing league, but do you think if they get opportunities abroad, do you think they should take the chance and move abroad?
Um, I feel at some point yes, because looking at the current scenario, uh, following the European football for so long, what I've learned is that they follow on the grassroots and basics very well, and that
Right.
is what we need. That is what we need. Our We don't have honestly great infrastructure. It's developing. It's on the developing stage, and players barely have the knowledge of you know the nutrition, the status, the strategies,
Hmm.
and everything. They barely have this knowledge. Now
Right.
it's now that they are developing. Even we see other players who have been to for foreign for even a short period of time. For example, we take our recent Kerala Blasters, now Mumbai City FC
Right.
defender Sanjeev Stalin. I have seen him from the under 17 World Cup time, and
Right.
when last season he has improved a lot.
Hmm.
Tactics, the strategies, everything has improved. So I
Correct.
believe
Yeah.
that one should take this opportunity, should go for this opportunity.
Definitely. And I cannot shower enough praises for Chethi. Like, I have seen the man actually play live, and it is fantastic the way he's talented and
Absolutely.
hardworking, and He's amazing. Like
He's
he's probably
absolutely
the
he's one
best
of
Indian
those.
footballer I've.
He's one of those players I remember. Like when there was not. No, there was nothing about Indian football. There was no
Yeah,
buzz around. The only player I knew was Sunil Chhetri, and that
of course. Yeah.
yeah, that's Sunil Chhetri, and that it started.
And talking about the manager, Igor Stimac, Croatian manager, like he's managed Croatia as well in the past, so like a big national team. So how do you feel about him? Like, and what's the general consensus about him as a manager in charge?
Uh, First of all, a very basic thing that you cannot compare the Croatian team with the Indian
Of
football
course.
team, the climate, everything. You cannot the infrastructure, uh, everything. There is no comparison. So one has to understand that the way you manage your team, your previous team, is totally
Hmm.
different from now current team.
Correct. Yeah.
We are not. Croatia has a different, a totally different infrastructure, different level. So when coming to Indian football, Igor needs to understand what way we should implement according to our, according to our infrastructure, according to our climate, and
Hmm.
everything. Looking
Hmm.
at the scenario.
Fair. So,
And
what's the general opinion about him though? Like, do people really rate him or are they frustrated with him? Because there was one time where on Twitter I used to see a lot of Stymac out,
yes,
and it gets frustrating because you need to support a manager, give him some time, and it was very early on in his spell that he was starting to get this hate on social media. So, how do you think that has happened?
well, honestly, at some point, even we were also very frustrated, and I have I have really good friends in Blue Pilgrims, and we were discussing. Oh my God, please, someone, I can't take this. We were like this, but honestly, after following him for so long, I have seen that the ball passing thing has improved,
Hmm.
and initially we were very frustrated with the experiments he's doing.
Right.
But then, after looking at what happened in AFC Asian Cup qualifiers, I noticed this thing that when, like, after the first half, in the beginning of second half, India was, very playing like they don't have any idea. They're
Hmm.
playing like they don't have any proper plan or strategy. But then suddenly, Stimac substituted Chetri and brought Ashik and
Yeah.
Sahal at the end moment, and then during the last match he brought in Ishan Pandita.
Hmm.
That was really amazing. And when Chetri went up and Sahal and Ashik started attacking, the
Hmm.
opposition team went really clueless of what to do and what not to do. So
Right.
that thing really struck me that this is one thing we need to do, like confusing the opposite team in this way. So yeah, I
Right.
started liking his strategies now. Yeah, I think he should get some more time. We should
Hmm.
see more, like, we should wait for some more time. Should be
Right.
given strategy, it's time to acclimatize with the Indian football.
Right. You mentioned Ishan Pandita and Ashik, like, to confuse the opponents, try different things as well. So, what are the other upcoming talents that are coming up? Like the big name, the big Bhaichung Bhutia, the one after Sunil Chhetri, who's going to take that crown, you feel?
Well, from my personal opinion, one thing I've always been saying in past few years, that is next Sunil Chhetri is going that is it's going to be Sahal. It's
Okay.
Sahal. He has that X factor in him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he has proven himself time and again in every match, be it Kerala Blasters, be it Indian football team. He has proved himself uh, that he has that potential.
Right.
And the big names, yes, Ishan Pandit. I think Ishan Pandit has already gained that title of the finisher. So we
Right.
have that in cricket, but he has
Yeah.
gained that in football. Like every time I see him, that guy comes in 80th, 85th minute and scores a goal and finishes
Yeah.
the game.
Right.
Literally, I don't know if you have seen the during the last match. Blue Pilgrims uploaded a WhatsApp chat and saying
Mhm.
that yaar bas Ishan Pandit a goal maar de.
Right.
So that was me and my friends chat only, and we were like
Okay.
chatting, sitting at the stadium doing video calls and chatting. Yeah, it was just one thing is left. Sahal has scored, Chetri has scored, everyone has scored.
Right.
Team is
Right.
on now, playing amazing, and Ishan Pandit has come on now. He's just scored.
Right.
So it's like he has already. The same thing. We were talking in some time back about the going to foreign learning the tactics, and he knows that Spanish football thing very well. He has been
Right.
playing there since his teenage days.
Right.
So
Right.
so he has learned the tactics. He has he is now built in that infrastructure. That's
Hmm.
that European football infrastructure. Now,
Right.
so looking at the speed, style, tactics, no, that's different. Totally amazing. Totally.
Right. And how important are grassroots? Because that's when you start building the basics, the fundamentals of football. And what's the grassroots scene in India? Because, it definitely needs improvement infrastructure wise, coaching wise, tactical wise. Where do you think we would be in the coming years? Like, what's your projection for how we are looking like in the grassroots scenes?
Uh, well, you know, during the recent thing, I've attended few classes and
Mhm.
a few discussions where we were having this. I attended a course where we had one of the heads of Reliance Young Champs, the grassroots level program of Reliance,
Right.
and when he was explaining the structure, he had this mentality of that European and foreign football structure, the
Like a pyramid.
triangle, a
Yeah.
pyramid.
Yeah.
That is very important because without
Hmm.
grassroots, there's nothing. No, looking at the recent scenario, the baby leagues coming up,
Right.
baby leagues in Ladakh, and then recently Sevilla FC signed with FC Bangalore United,
Yeah.
and
I saw that too.
a lot of other clubs are collaborating with the European clubs. Even
Hmm.
Bengaluru FC has their under 13, under 14, probably under 11 as well leagues going on.
Right.
Even Jamshedpur, I've seen they focus a lot on grassroots.
Right.
A lot of current Jamshedpur players, not even Jamshedpur, a lot of uh, now players are from the Tata Football Academy, and that's really
Right. Right.
important. One
Yeah, for
has to
sure.
focus on
And
because
this Indian mindset where your parents want you to study, like
yeah,
put most of your attention towards studying, and then maybe football happens, it happens. How do we
eh,
change that culture? That's my question, because I think that's something really important that parents should start looking towards
yeah,
sports as a possible career option.
possible career. It's not about like studying. It's about the sporting scenario we have in India. I guess
Hmm.
it's all about cricket here. Like
Yeah.
why
True.
football? Go for cricket. I mean,
Yeah.
why? I mean,
Yeah.
there's already so much going in cricket. How can you just say? I
Right.
mean, we have covered not only football. We have kabaddi. We have
Yeah.
lot of other sports.
Hockey.
We have
You're good at.
hockey. A
Yeah.
lot of other sports. Now, I think now after India is a place where once you win a World Cup or a gold medal, then people start going. Then
Yeah.
people start going and start
Yeah,
joining.
that's
It's
true.
happened with Neeraj Chopra.
That's true.
Like he started, he won the medal, the gold medal, and then people like
That's when he
go to
got good.
javelin, go to
Yeah,
javelin.
yeah,
It's
that's
like
true.
that. The mentality, it's changing. It's taking, but it'll take some
It will
time. It's
take some
changing now.
time. Yeah,
Take
definitely.
some time.
Speaking of big achievements and trophies, I'm in the United States right now, and they will be hosting the World Cup in 2026. Now, let's say I am here till 2026. Do you think I will see Indian football play here?
2026, honestly, in my opinion, is a bit too early for Indian
Yeah,
football
I
team.
think it's too early as well.
Because our youngsters are still learning,
Hmm.
and I'm not sure. I don't want to say this, but I really don't want this myself personally. That I'm not sure if Chetan is gonna play till 2026,
Hmm.
but it's gonna take some real time. Maybe after the 2026 World Cup, we may see India qualifying or reaching a good level where we have, we may think about, okay, we have some chances, we have some positive chance of uh, qualifying for the World Cup, because no, it's still developing. Our
Hmm.
juniors are still learning.
Right.
Uh, our coach is still understanding, still experimenting. Infrastructure is developing,
Of
and
course. Yeah.
I, I'm sure you have heard about the possible FIFA ban, which was
Right.
pretty much scary.
Yeah.
Oh, and I don't want to mention, but still a bit of it, the politics going in,
Of course.
and
Of course.
AI, that's
Yeah,
that
that
needs
needs
to
to change. Yeah, that needs to go.
change.
Yeah,
Once
definitely.
that's changed, the situation's gonna develop for
Of
good.
course. Of course. And so realistically, what do you think we should aim for right now? Like, of course, qualifying itself is quite an achievement for us, but and it is, we have to work hard for it. But do we have any realistic chance? What do you think about the Asian Cups or the Asian Games? Where do you think we fare in that regard?
Well, talking about the AFC Asian Cup, that's, no, honestly, being very honest, it's real tough because we have Japan, we have South Korea,
Hmm.
we have Qatar who's gonna play the
Of
World
course.
Cup.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be real tough challenge.
Right.
Because first of all, the important thing is their physicality, their speed, their energy. I have noticed one thing in players that they get tired very easily.
Hmm.
And looking at the other teams, no, that's the thing. These things still need to be improved. They are slowly, but still need to be improved.
Right.
So it's a real tough. It's a real tough challenge coming up for the
Right.
Indian football team.
Because it's a sleeping giant, right? Indian football. Like, we
Absolutely
have a population of 1.3 billion people, and we are struggling to put out a
struggling.
quality 11 side
Yeah,
team, which is kind of a bad feel. Like, I feel very sad that it still needs improvement considering the population pool that we have. But if we
absolutely.
look at like, we have to understand the, like, as you were mentioning quite a lot about the geographical conditions, the climate of the scenario that we are in. But politics aside, do you think there's still improvement needed on the pitch tactically, of course, but in terms of stamina, like, what do you think the players need to do to improve their fitness, their stamina? Like, do they need to adopt the European methods across all formats, not just the men's national team or women's national team, but across all club levels as well?
No, yes, like what you said, it really feels bad that we have such a huge population and still can't get it can get a squad of 11. Like, if
Hmm.
we will see Croatia has such small population, but still
Yeah,
managed to play the World Cup final.
of course.
So
Iceland as well. They've managed to
yeah,
qualify. Yeah.
so yeah, I feel that the stamina, the basic thing is, the stamina won't come like you drink or eat something and the
Yeah,
stamina is gonna come
of
like that.
course.
So it's a time taking process. Obviously, I feel that the players we should start opting for the European method, because
Hmm.
they focus with the basics. They
Of
start
course.
with the
Yeah.
basics. So improving that will bring up change in the higher levels, obviously.
Right. And speaking of like bringing European methods, England has their football pyramid structure, which is working so well for them. So start playing non-league, and then as they go further up, it's the Premier League's the highest competition that they play. Uh, we are trying to do something similar with the ISL and I League merger. So is that a good thing for Indian football, and where do you think that will take us in terms of developing our footballing scenario?
Yes, absolutely. Like, as we were talking about the stamina and everything, the talents, upcoming talents. The
Right.
worst part is that Uh, well, like as we mentioned, like we were talking about the stamina and everything, right? The upcoming
Right.
talents and everything. The worst part is in the Indian football scenario right now is that we don't like the Indian football team, national team especially, don't get much exposure. They
Right.
don't have any, they don't get much playing time. That's the problem.
Right.
No, it's a we need something that goes all around the year, like Champions League, like La Liga, that goes all around the year. No,
Right.
that's important. Players improve. No, you can't just you can't just give a player 2 3 matches and ask him to play for the national team or
Yeah.
hope him to play for the national team and score goals suddenly. You
Of
can't. So
course.
it
Of
needs
course.
time. It's a very time taking process.
Right.
Uh, so first of all, we need more playing time. So it's a very good
Hmm.
thing that the Durant Cup started again.
Right.
And especially, I've noticed the teams like Kerala Blasters and all the other teams send their junior, core junior team, and that's really, I've seen a lot of improvement because the Durant Cup was there. Then the ISL started last season. I
Right.
saw all the junior core players playing there in the Durant Cup. May or may not have may not there wasn't that this not thing that they gave a very amazing
Hmm.
performance may but I saw their improvement in ISL because they
Right.
learned they got experience uh, no, no, that's very important.
Of
So
course, like playing time, as you mentioned, is
playing
something
time,
that
yes,
is,
it's
of
very
course, it is
important.
very essential, especially in the developmental phases of a
Development,
football's career.
yes,
Yeah. So I
and it
think,
helps. Yeah,
yeah, please go ahead.
junior players
Go.
so I have like because it's like when you're playing like a league like ISL, obviously you are a new player coming joining the team. Obviously the team will give you some time to see, to analyze. Now obviously
Right.
it's not like you'll join the team and start playing from the very first match. So
Of course. Yeah.
leagues like Durant Cup really helps these youngsters in gaining experience, getting playing time, learning a lot of things. So I
Right.
think that I League once had this glory of
Hmm.
being one of the best, being the best, not one of the, being the best
Yeah.
league of the country. Has lost it all, but I think this merger will really help because first of all, the I League teams now has no exposure. People
Right.
barely watch I League. People
Yeah.
barely watch I League now.
That's
They,
true.
it's all about the glamour
Yeah.
the
That's
Indian
what it
audience
has become.
wants.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
The glamour the Indian audience wants, and not the true sport.
Right.
So yeah, so I think that will help a lot. The teams will get to learn because
Right.
ISL has been a league that is get opting this European style. It is the
Right.
time is increasing from 6 months now. It's become now it's started with 6 months pre-seasons in abroad, and also these are the things. So the I League teams will get some exposure, and even the relegation system. I
Yeah.
must appreciate about that. I personally liked it because ISL teams which don't perform well and relegate, they will also
Right.
learn the again start from the scratch and learn the
Yeah.
things.
Of
So yeah,
course. And I really like the promotion and relegation system because there's something that you need to
yes,
work for. There are penalties
exactly.
if you fail, and there is reward if you
Right,
win. So
exactly.
it's like a beautiful thing,
Absolutely
the promotion and relegation. So I'm
beautiful thing.
really a big
Yes.
fan of the promotion relegation
The
system.
promotion, yeah, exactly. That is something that will actually help in improving the Indian football structure a lot. Uh,
Right. Of course. Shrestha, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for spending your precious time. I know you have an exam coming up, so thank you for,
uh,
spending time
thank
and
you
coming
for
to talk on this podcast.
thank you for giving me this opportunity to discuss the Indian football in such a nice way because I really really don't get a lot of people talking about Indian football. So
Of
yeah, it
course,
was
you know,
amazing.
there's so
Actually,
much we still need to talk, and we can talk more about in detail maybe on a future episode.
yeah, I can keep on talking the
Yeah,
whole
there is so much that
night,
we
the
can
whole
still
day
talk.
about
Yeah,
Indian football. So much
yeah.
fun. Yeah,
So you're most welcome on in another episode of Matchball. You know where to connect to us. So we'd like to
absolutely,
have you
absolutely,
soon. Thank you very
absolutely.
much. And for
Thank
our
you.
viewers, if you want to connect with Shrestha, we can leave her Twitter link down in the description. Do you want anything to plug on this channel?
I have my Instagram account. I can
Okay,
just
sure.
share
We
it.
can add everything in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
description.
I'll share that. Yes,
Sure.
absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much, Shrestha. And for our viewers, just yeah.
For the Indian football fans, there is also a small news I would love to share that recently FIFA Museum has selected my autograph diary to
Mhm.
exhibit in their project 211 by Diego Forlan, initiated by Diego Forlan. So it has the
Mhm.
autograph of Sunil Chetri, Vaishnavi and Amod and legend Subrata Bhattacharya. And it's already reached there in the FIFA Museum, so
Right.
representing India. So I
Yes.
hope that makes everyone happy and proud.
Yep. Definitely. Definitely. For our viewers, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, do all the stuff that you do regularly. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.